This is Justin AMZN on Tuesday, April 17th, 2018, looking at the pre-market from this morning. And we are above where I thought we'd be. We have the wicks up here getting close to 1460. And already in the pre-market, we looked like we were going to double top and start to roll down, come back into the 1455, maybe below it, and have another open with some selling, similar to we had back on Friday. And instead, we actually broke through that pre-market, and we're just kind of retesting here all these bullish candles in a row on the pre-market, all of this buying from yesterday's close. If you switch back to the daily, so I've got the daily set up, looking at the daily ending yesterday. I haven't shown today's candle, so to really set this up, set the stage for where everything is trading. And where it is opening is right around 1465, somewhere up here. And what that means is that anybody who has shorted, who has gone bearish in the last couple of weeks here, they're trapped. This bearish candle, this bearish candle, this bearish candle, even the people up here who are selling in that wick, all these bearish candles, this bearish candle from a couple days ago with a high of 1459.78. All those bears are trapped. All those people who are selling, they were trapped. And there is not much of anything in this range for, let's see, this was last month. This was back in the beginning of March. So there's nothing for weeks that would be resistance in this range if this were to keep going bullish. You get into this low here at 1482.32. So 1482 would be a good place to take some profits. That there could be some people selling who sold here that would say, hey, you know, I'm back to that price that it sold, and it was a great place to sell right at the end, and then it gapped down. There was people who sold here that then it moved up. So anywhere in this range would look for maybe a good place to take some profit. But there's still nothing in this whole range till you get up to our 1500 price. It's actually a really ideal setup to actually go bullish. So we usually start on the 5 minute, but just setting the stage for what the potential is that you could have done without even looking at what happened today. Just taking a step back, somewhat back trading this, which we usually do. So we're very bullish getting into the open. We've had a lot of bullish candles moving up. Our first candle of the day is a bearish candle. It's actually great to have a bearish candle like this. It doesn't come down to our 1455 price, but it doesn't have to. It's so bullish. What's nice about this is there's people who at the open are selling. There's more sellers than there are buyers. That's why it's a bearish candle with a very strong lower wick. And really the trade right here is get in bullish above and a stop below, or if you want to be a little more conservative, a stop down at 1454 or something, you know, below a pre-market level, maybe, you know, a little bit below 1455. And if it does come back down, maybe it'll bounce. You can get in again with a tighter risk reward. But that's the entry, and it triggers you in immediately, moves up. So anybody who was shorting this first candle is trapped. They're getting out, so they're buying to cover, buying to close their positions. Again, there's nothing to the left, nothing for weeks in this area, and it moves up again, and then pauses here. So a couple quick candles. You're at maybe an R if you got into this, or maybe a little under an R if you know, we're sitting right here, maybe half an R or up half an R. That's nothing really to be concerned about at this point because we've got the bullish move on our side. Sure, it's possible that this could roll back down, create a bigger S curve, and then bounce closer to 1455, but that's okay. You've got a stop down here in case that happens. You do have, you know, this kind of S curve here, another S curve here, and then we just start to move up. And you could even call this move right here an S curve. It just, you'd have to look at the 1 minute to see how that moved down and back up. Take another step forward, and we throw in another candle. These are, the bodies of these are inside, but the wicks are upper. It looks like there's people here thinking, yeah, I'm going to short this up here. But there isn't anything on the daily chart saying, go short up there. The line that we had here was 1468. We're already above that. We didn't even pause at that. I guess that's maybe this price, maybe a little bit of this price that people are thinking is overshot and came back down, maybe. Now we have an actual inside candle, bullish, and now we break out. So again, anybody who's shorting here in these two candles, they're now trapped. More people trapped is actually good for taking a trade in the direction of the trend in this case. Now we move up. Now we throw in a small candle way up here, and this is a pretty good move. You know, maybe you're up a little more than an hour, or an hour and a quarter, or something like that, hour and a half, something. And you got the bullish volume coming in. There was no squeeze, but it just continues to move up. You're above your moving averages. This is looking great. This is a good time to tighten up your stop. If it's, you know, if you've been long enough, so this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 minutes. Maybe it's a good time to tighten up your stop to this low below this candle or below this candle. Looking for a move to continue. And it does. Continues. Now it pauses again here. And the same thing. There may be some people going selling up here. Again, we switch back to the daily. The low on this candle was 1481. The low on this candle was 1482, 32. So again, there's still nothing in the chart that says this is a place to sell. So hold on. Another inside candle. This is a great pause right here. Building up momentum. Come right back into the 5 exponential. This would be a good time that if you're looking to lock in more profit, you can move your stop up below this candle. Sorry, I'm pointing at all these small candles. Let's zoom in on this some more. There we go. So move your stop up below the bullish candle, below this bullish candle. Even if you want to be really aggressive below this candle, you lock in a full R at that point. And another small candle, a lower wick, but we're okay if our stop is here or lower. And this would be a great place for, so now this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes of just a pause in this range, $3, $4 range on this lack of movement here. And this is a nice lower wick to say, oh, we could go higher. It's a bullish engulfing candle of this one, which was incredibly small. This would have been a great place to say, okay, I'll get in above it, but I'm going to have my stop a little further down just to be more conservative. Or you wait till you get in. Wait to get in when it breaks bullish. It didn't even pull back down to these highs, which means that anybody selling here, they didn't have a good place to get out. It would have to pull back to anywhere in this range to catch up with more sellers down here. Another inside candle. And now, okay, we throw in a little bit lower candle. This could have stopped some people out if they were being really aggressive. Maybe it'll come down to the 1470 into the 21 exponential, but immediately it just goes back up. Now this actually takes out the high. So people who had been shorting, or who got in, think of the people right here who got in below this low. They waited for that confirmation to get in, but they couldn't wait the full 5-minute candle. Didn't close below that low. That would have been a bearish engulfing. It's a bearish engulfing of this candle, but not a close below all of these because you have that lower wick. But anyway, it's moving up. It's a nice candle moving up. It's got a little bit lower volume, but it actually closes above this high here. And so, let's see, what was the high? 1477.23. 1477, yeah. So it actually closed above that high, and it looks like it may continue. Oh, a nice little inside candle, and then it breaks out. Okay, so it broke out, retested, then broke out more. And again, this would have been a great place to say, okay, I'll get in on a pullback into this candle, or get in, let it break out, let it retest, and it'll retest of some value. Just let it retest, let it pause a little bit. You could have gotten in any point in this candle with a stop down here. Now you're moving up. You can move your stop from wherever you had it down here up to here. If you were stopped down in that, you locked in a gain. Pretty much any movement, any trade you took bullish worked with, you know, a conservative stop or even a pretty aggressive stop, you know, at any point in here, as long as you weren't buying at a high on a candle, you know, which is not the right time to buy. You want to wait for, you know, this kind of move. This is our S-curve. Just didn't dip down as far as you like to see. It just paused and came down a little bit and moved back up. Here's a little S-curve here. This I would expect to move up. Now we're coming up into 1481, 1482. And those were some of the lows we had on those larger candles. So it makes sense that we're going to pause in this area. There's not much going on in here. The morning has ended in the Eastern time zone. We're into the lunchtime hour, and we're just starting to move up a little bit. Some very small candles in here. Some great opportunities to say, okay, if it continues bullish, now I've waited long enough. I've built up more momentum. Have a squeeze that formed and fired, but didn't really move too much. And maybe it's starting to. This candle actually looks nice to continue. It had to gap up from the close to the open on that candle. And we are actually breaking out bullish. So we broke out. Maybe it'll retest a little bit. We're definitely into the 1482 price. And, oh, yep, there's a little bit of a retest, and that's all you got. A little retest, and it's like it was almost timid to continue bullish. It didn't really pull back any. It just continued to meander higher. And as I said, anywhere in here, had you just bought on a bearish candle, and you could have sold on a bullish candle, and for the most part, made money because it just moved up. You know, let's say you bought on this candle, the stop down here, you'd still be in, and you'd be profitable up here. I'm not saying buy at the high on this, you know, that looks like it's opening as a bearish candle, and get out on a bullish candle. I don't mean like that. That would be a little bit of a loss. But get in on a bearish candle. Any one of these, you know, these lows, that would have been a pullback. Any one of these, get in with a decent stop, and, you know, you would be profitable. Any of these. Moved up. Okay, now we've got, you know, that little bit of a pullback. Here's another pullback up here. We're definitely into the range now of some older candles. So this is an evening star reversal. This could actually pull back a little bit further. And it doesn't. This continues up, pushes up into 1490. It just continues going. So any of these, even if you had bought on any of these bearish candles in here, you're profitable. Bought calls or bought the shares. We're way up here. We're approaching our 1500 price. So it makes sense if we slow down again a little bit before we get there. Or maybe people are thinking, okay, it's not going to get there, you know, from some of the stuff we had back in this area, below 1455, didn't get there some days. But this is very aggressively bullish. We have some indecision up here, some pausing up here. These two candles were, let's see, the highs are identical. So that's a tweezer top. So we could have a little bit of a pullback, and we do. This is about the only point that you could have actually gone bearish. And I'll show you the puts. It really didn't make much going bearish here. But it did pull back. This would have been a place that, okay, you're trailing your stop, maybe you got stop out. Or, you know, you wait for a couple candles for it to go up, and then you move your stop up to the largest one, and maybe that was this one. Or maybe it was this one and you got stopped out. And you're still locking in game. We immediately bounce, and we kind of chop around. Now this is a good place to say again that we pause like this. We had a little bit wider range, and the premium didn't get sucked out of the puts right away. So there was actually still premium in those. I was watching the options a little bit. I was surprised that it moved up here and just chopped around. And it looked like the market makers were saying, okay, we know this is going to go higher. We're going to suck in some more bears at a higher price, and we're just going to suck the premium back out as it moves up. Because this is your first opportunity to have a little bit more bearishness. I mean, you had one time where you had two bearish candles in a row, a second time, this is only the third time in the day, and fourth time in the day, you had two bearish candles in a row. I don't even think it happened again. Oh, there, three in a row. Sorry, shouldn't have said that so soon. But all of this is just slowly grinding higher, all day grinding higher. We're losing our bullish momentum. We've got four bearish candles in a row. Very tight range, tighter range than these, about the same as this. Similar to this, a little less than that. just eyeballing this, and then we start to bounce again. And here's our 1500 price. I love that we slammed right into it. The high on this candle is 1500. So it's a great place to pause, and then we come right up into it again, this time with a bullish candle. Exactly 1500. I'm like, this is amazing. We just paused right here at 1500. Such a good line to have in. A nice whole number. People are selling at this line, looking to lock in profits, looking to just get out a nice clean number on Amazon. Whatever the case may be, this was a great place to just pause. What's interesting though is we actually formed a squeeze, pushed up into that little, and then just sat on it and started losing momentum right away. And looks like we're going to roll back down. This candle actually 2 cents below, so a tweezer-ish top. You've got your 21 exponential that's been moving up all day. Hasn't even touched any of the 5-minute candles. It looks like it's going to now. This is a rejection of the 1500 price. And then we actually break through, push up a little bit higher, and end the day above 1500. So anybody who had bought any of these pullbacks would have been making money, would have been able to exit profitably, except for, maybe this candle at the very end of the day, which is not the time to be getting in after it's had this kind of a bullish move. If we take a step back out, you can see the last time we were in this range that we're in now here was aftermarket, chopping around in here, going back a few weeks. What day was this? 3/28. So the end of last month. 3/27 was this day, and then 3/20 was this day. So last time we were in this range was on this bearish candle. I'll show you on the daily now. We'll step forward a little bit and see. So there we go. So that's the candle we just formed today. Completely bullish, trapping everybody who went bearish through here, coming back up into the range of this large candle. And, remember how strong this bearish candle was, a bearish engulfing that then gapped down for the next day's open, retested, continued, and then turned into a Morningstar reversal here above the 100. And we were looking for this to roll back over. We thought this was a great bearish S-curve here. This would just continue. And instead, we get a bullish gap up that traps so many people. And even the last 2 days, all the sellers in the last 2 days, opening at 1462.30, putting a low of 1457.02. So it actually did pull down a little bit into the same range of this candle, and not quite this candle. So yeah, just this one and this one, and the rest of it just moving up. It's interesting that the low on this 1457.02, 1458.07 is the exponential moving average on the 5 minute, or on the 5 moving average. I can't explain what I'm talking about. And then the 21 is a little bit higher. So we came back, touched both of those, and then we're off to the races. If you look at a call, so if you got into the 1500 call expiring this week, the monthly expiration, at pretty much any point today, you could have exited for a profit later in the day. This was the only time on that move. Let me zoom back out. Come on, where's your candle from today? This is not what I want to see here. I don't know why it's not. There we go. Okay. Technical difficulties. All right, here's our movement today. Look how well it's mirrored. Gently sloping up, chop around for a little while, drifting upward, continue move higher, pull back. I mean, the 1500 was out of the money way down here. And that's why I bring it up, that even if you had a very small R, you could have gotten in on the second 5 minute candle of the day above that high. Could have gotten in on this candle, buying at even, let's say, the high of 330, and a stop down at 225. That would have been slightly more than $100. and it didn't even come close to touching it. That's about as close as you can get to having something, work out so well. And all day, that would have just moved higher. Had you bought it 3:30 and exited, let's say you exit at the end of the day, and it was 17:35 right before it closed. 17:35 minus 3:30 is 14:05. You would have made 14 R's today just buying at the open, the second 5-minute candle, and then selling at the close. There was other times to get out. There was other times to get back in, maybe with a tighter range on some of these, or just play it again and see if you can make a little bit more in the day. But anywhere had you bought with $100 R on a bearish candle, except for like this one maybe, you should be making it, or this one. So a couple places, but that's what we go over here. These were not the places to get in. This candle was not the place to get in bullish after it had this move up. And then here, this was just kind of chopping, and you needed a little more direction, or a little more decision. As it consolidated and formed a squeeze, this would have been a place to say, okay, this looks like it's going to bounce. You've got some small candles. This is staying above the lows here. That could move up, but you're still so close to your 1500. So, it's late in the day to buy anywhere up in here, late in the day to buy anywhere up in here, but even buying calls, anything would have worked. The only place that I said could have been a small bearish move was in here. On, let's see, this candle, that's that one. So this candle actually put in a low of 7. And on this candle, on the put, the 1475 put, this put in a low of 7 on this candle. And then the premium was going up, and there was actually a little bit more value on the put all through here, which was really bizarre. It's like we're going bullish to neutral, and the put is gaining value. So that told me the market makers are looking to just suck the premium out of this as we, continue to grind higher into the 1500. But because of this bigger bearish move, it and the indecisiveness of these candles, it just adds some premium in. And by the end of the day, that had been sucked back out, especially with the move here towards the very end of the day. So, you could have bought at 7 and flipped this out around 750 or 8 with a movement that was actually going higher rather than lower with a put. It was just really bizarre to see. And I was looking at the options price, in this range and seeing these puts are not moving the right direction. And it was just really bizarre. So there are some other things you could have played. You could have gotten into, calls that were closer. I think I typed that wrong. Let's see, 14 closer would have been 1475, and that would have gone in the money by 20 something bucks by the end of the day. This is another great opening candle. This would have been you would have needed a little bit larger R, getting above 1010 with a stop below 1045 with a little bit of room for slippage or bid-ask spread on the option. That would have moved up, just chopped around all day, and then just continued, just drifting higher. But any of these in here where it's just a couple people buying or selling, that just made the price bounce around a little bit. It's over a few dollars. That's the issue of being, this far in the money, is that the range on this is so much larger. It's not really something that you want to throw away some of the bid-ask spread money. If we come into 1490, you can see just a little bit differently how this moved. Still a similar open, chop for a while, move up a little bit, chop for a while, move up, a little more involved with the pullback, and then just grinding higher all day. So any of these calls that you look at that look similar, if we go out even further, so if we look at the 1525, that could be in play this week for a continued move bullish. This one you could have actually bought for under $1 and flipped it out towards the end of the day for $7. So that would have been, a 6-hour gain in the day. Or this is something you could have just been buying down here, saying, I'm going to just hold this for a few days and see if we can actually push a little bit higher. We're into some old candles. Very easily could have a pullback, a retest. But already at the end of the day, aftermarket, we're actually even a little bit higher up here into the 1508 price. So it's actually pushed a little bit higher. It would not surprise me to have a pullback at least to 1500. This is an incredible move. I think the hourly was all bullish today. The hourly, all day. Just every hourly candle kept going higher, 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 higher. You made a higher low on each candle, and you made a higher high on each candle all day long on the hourly. So anybody who has bought at any of the ranges up here, they were late, obviously, but we could see something either come back to the 1500 or even come back down a little bit further, give us a bigger S-curve. And you just got to look for a reversal of candles like tweezer bottoms and Morningstar reversals and some consolidations that actually break out. If we take a look back at the 5-minute, a day like this, we had some consolidation on. The next day, some consolidation, things like that. I'm going to get rid of some of these lines. And because these things are not relevant anymore. Now that we've completely broken out, I can get rid of some of those later. But if you have anything like this day where you have some consolidation, we can have something like that up in this area and then continue higher. Or similar to yesterday where we had some consolidation, some lower highs, higher lows that then breaks out. So all that could happen in this range. Now the opens have been pretty violent with some big swings, and if that happens, great. Wait it out to get some smaller candles to improve your risk reward. Instead of having that large of a candle, you can wait it up until you had some of these smaller candles to take it bullish, or any of these in here. But the opening. The opening hour was a great time to trade, and then late morning was a great time to trade, and then even late into the day, just this grinding higher. Could have squeaked out, an R, a couple R on that continuing move had you just traded this part of the day. So, best trade would have been buying the second 5-minute and getting out near the end of the day, at least when you're crossing the 1500 price. So the last hour of the day, or last half hour of the day, it looks like, to have managed the position. So I hope this is helpful. We'll see what happens with the resistances we've got next. I think our 1514 price is finally coming back into play. So we'll see if that gets interacted with the rest of the week, especially tomorrow. See if this is a good place to bounce around in this range and then continue, or roll over, or roll over. I wouldn't expect it to come down to the 100 simple, but anything's possible. Today's very bullish candle. It would be good to have a little bit of a retest. If not, keep an eye on a little bit larger time frames, like the 15-minute that didn't have much of a pullback, or the hourly that we were just looking at. That makes sense to have a little more pullback. But we rested down in here. You look at the hourly. This was a total pause. We totally rested. Got some bears moving here that they probably made some money getting out at these lows, and we're just grinding higher gently. Last few days looked like a couple sell-offs, and then especially this was a sell-off day without the range. So it's nice to have a really nice larger range day on AMZN that we had back with the larger candles a few weeks ago. The last couple weeks, almost a week and a half here, and really smaller candles. There haven't been as much of the movement. There's been some. You can go back and look at the older videos to see those, but it's nice to have some larger candles in here again, like we had in this area and back in here, to see, okay, is it going to continue out? What's the next step going to be? So stay tuned, and we'll review. This is Justin Yamamoto.